So next, layoffs has been crazy. It has been going crazy recently. A lot of companies, you're seeing them lay off people for different reasons and things. And recently, a few weeks ago, didn't get to it last week because remember we did the Samsung event, so had to push this out a whole extra week, which is unfortunate. But Google has announced more layoffs and things, so we're gonna dive into the reasonings between why they decided to do that and go on based off of that as well too. So
including staffers working on its voice assistant and those on its AR or augmented reality hardware team. We're seeing Silicon Valley kicking off 2024 with a series of job cuts.
so
Google is now laying off hundreds of people, including staffers working on its voice assistant and those on its AR or augmented reality.
so just to pause it right there real quick. They're laying off hundreds of employees, and you can see where they're taking the stuff out of. So there's two reasons I can see them doing this. Two things. Their voice thing, their Google Voice that they were talking about, they're laying off people from there because they have a pretty strong foundation, I'm sure, in their engineering teams and stuff like that for their voice Google Voice teams to be like, oh, we can make cuts here. Even AR reality, I feel like they got beat to the punch on this because Apple has their Vision Pro coming out, and then also Meta has their Oculus thing, so that people can play on there. I really didn't hear nothing crazy for Google. I mean Google, um, but that's that's kind of the reality of how they probably picked out where they're laying off these people from. Because one thing about engineering, I said this in a previous episode, that you want to find a niche area and spot so that you're specialized in it. You know what you're looking for, you know what you're good at, you can develop a lot more focused areas. You still want to be a butterfly and like know different stuff, of course, but you need to still have a main core thing. And how safe is the thing that you are specializing in and stuff. These people who are working in these departments, now they have to go, hopefully they were able to like change departments within the company, because people do that when they see smoke start to rise. They do switch different teams to different departments and things like that, or some people would just go to a whole nother company and stuff. But this is where they're picking up, where they're laying off people from, because these two products they have, they probably already have a foundation for it, that they don't need as much headway and work towards it and maintenance on the regulars, and a few other reasons. So let's just continue.
Hardware team. We're seeing Silicon Valley kicking off 2024 with a series of job cuts, which, if we remember, is how last year began. That preceded the sharpest industry retraction in more than a decade. And it's not just Google. Amazon is also cutting hundreds across its content creation units, including Prime Video and live streaming site Twitch. Unity Software, which makes the tech behind games like Pokemon Go.
So even she brought up Amazon's Twitch. Twitch doesn't even make money. Twitch is a negative business that Amazon owns. So they're always going to be cutting people from there. That's like that's another thing right there. Like, your whole department doesn't make anything too feasible for the company, so they're going to get rid of you. So engineers, if you're listening to this, you need to realize what you're doing. For if you're going to apply and work for a certain position in a company, know where you are going and how stable it's going to be and the stability of it. Because if Twitch, for instance, like, yeah, we just saw Prime is raising their the last video we just did, we just showed Prime is raising their prices and things like that, especially for how much stuff is beginning to cost and things along that line. But how long has people been using Prime? How much have you seen Prime get updated its format kind of in a way and things like that? But it's mainly just on the movie side. But you also have Twitch, that it's negative year after year. It is negative. It doesn't make Amazon any money. It's just a streaming service thing that they own, that they have, and a bunch of people make content off of it, and from
is reducing its workforce by 25%, around 1,800 jobs. And Duolingo, which makes the popular language learning app, cut 10% of its contractors, partially from greater use of AI. The layoffs are driven by a desire to cut costs as tech companies pivot to focus on profit over rapid revenue growth. It's about focusing resources on the biggest priorities, especially in the midst of fierce competition in areas like AI. For workers, that's fanning anxiety, particularly about how generative AI could hurt content creation jobs. Unions also argue that the
to make another point for that. So yeah, AI is affecting jobs as well too. And I can give you an example right here. ChatGPT came out, and last year starting a content creation journey with the podcast and things like that, and AI came out like at the right time for being a solo creator, not having a team behind you yet and stuff like that, because you can do a lot more stuff way more efficiently. You can tell it to do things for you, or there's certain tools out there that can do certain editing and stuff for you and go about that. So if they don't need you to do certain stuff anymore because they have AI integrations that do it for them, they're going to do that 100% of the time. They're going to do that. So you also have to see, where is this something that can be efficiently done better by something like AI? So that makes sense.
Necessary at a time when companies like Google are bringing in billions in profits every quarter. Although overall tech layoffs have been stabilizing since their peak early last year, what's clear is that big tech is still far from the growth over profit mindset we've seen over much of the past decade.
Yeah, and she talks about the growth and things like that. I feel like it overgrowed way too fast. It grew way too fast, I believe, for what everything was doing, especially once when everybody was able to start working back at home and doing things across that. So they ended up overemploying. I feel like they had a lot of people working from remote jobs and different positions and things like that. And then right after the whole COVID and pandemic thing hit, then a lot of these companies really evaluated themselves, and even during there, when they took a big hit, to figure out what they don't need anymore, and they cleaned house. So yeah, that's something that you have to really be careful about